Buongiorno a tutti. Thanks for joining me again in my little kitchen here in Lecce in the south of Italy. My name is Francesco and today I'm running late, so I'm going to make something really quick but tasty for lunch. I'm going to make a couple of crostoni, which is a jumped up version of a toasted sandwich, and I'm going to top them with the remaining oyster mushrooms I have, a little bit of rucola, some sun-dried tomatoes, red onion, and I have some Galbanino cheese. I'll add a little bit of rosemary to make the mushrooms taste great, and it's going to be put together in 15 minutes or so that's going to be a quick lunch. It's a great snack idea, so I hope you enjoy it. If you do, please give me a thumbs up and leave a comment down below. Let's cook. For today's recipe you're going to need oyster mushrooms, some nice crusty bread, red onion, rucola, cheese. I'm using Galbanino, you could use a cheddar or any nice melting cheese you might prefer, sun-dried tomatoes and rosemary. Let's begin by removing the stem from the mushrooms and then breaking them up into smaller, more manageable pieces. I'm using oyster mushrooms, but of course you can use any other mushrooms that you may prefer. Next we're going to peel and thinly slice half of a red onion. I'm going to use one sun-dried tomato per slice of bread. This is going to also replace any salt needed in the recipe, as they are already well salted and will season the mushrooms nicely. Cut them into thin slices and then proceed to finely chop a small sprig of rosemary. The final thing we need to prepare is the cheese. As you can see, I'm using a Galbanino, so I need to remove the wax coating and then I can grate it. You can use a cheddar, a firm mozzarella, or any other mild, good melting cheese. The first thing we need to do is to toast the bread from one side whilst we prepare the other ingredients. We're going to begin with a little extra virgin olive oil, and then we can go straight in with the mushrooms, which we're going to saute at the highest temperature for a couple of minutes. After a minute or two, they will begin to soften up and give off their moisture. This is the thing we always dislike about mushrooms, but we're going to make use of it by adding the sun-dried tomatoes, which will absorb that moisture. They will soften up, and at the same time they're going to season the mushrooms. Keep frying for a couple of minutes and then we can add the rosemary. This is going to start giving some lovely flavour and aroma. Keep frying. Season with a little black pepper. We won't need any salt. Keep tossing and frying until the moisture evaporates away and the mushrooms cook down nicely. It's going to take about 3 or 4 minutes. There you go, in slow motion. It looks so much better. Keep the heat up high because the last thing we want is to have soggy mushrooms. And then when they're well cooked and starting to brown, we can add the onion and turn off the heat. The residual heat will be plenty to get those onions cooked halfway through. We also don't want to have soggy onions. By now the bread is toasted, so we can remove it, ready to add our topping. Back to the frying pan, we can now add the rucola, which we just want to slightly wilt together with the other ingredients. Basically, we just want to get rid of that raw flavor from the onion and to get the rucola a little bit moist and soft so that it doesn't burn immediately. Now we can coat our bread with grated cheese, plenty of it, and then we'll be ready to start adding the mushroom topping. Add plenty of topping, spread it out evenly, and then we're going to add a final sprinkle of cheese, which is going to melt down and hold everything into place. Final dusting of freshly ground black pepper, and we can go into the oven at the highest setting just until it goes nice and golden brown. Mine took about 5 minutes. I'd say that looks good enough to eat. And so there's only one thing more to be said. Buon appetito!